Hi, this is Adam Reeves. Welcome to my new channel, Roots to the Bone, in support of my upcoming comic book series, Trombone Man, Ska's Fallen Genius, the life story of Don Drummond. I'm going to be sharing some interviews with some of the coolest ska musicians, particularly trombonists around. And this is, for the first one, I'm going to be interviewed myself by my good friend Charles Benoit from Reggae Steady Ska. He's a ska journalist and plays in a band called Some Ska Band, Rochester, New York State. So over to you, Charles, and let's have a chat.
Fantastic. I'm really excited about the upcoming comic book and this video series because it's going to be an opportunity to learn a lot more about one of my favorite musicians of all time. But let's get one thing straight right off the bat. You're not a trombone player and you're not even in a band and you're not even a musician. How are you getting involved in a 8-part comic book series, which will eventually be a graphic novel about a trombone player in a band?
Well, I've been a massive ska fan forever, since I was a teenager, and particularly I've always been obsessed with the Skatalites music, and I first heard about Don Drummond back in the 1980s, and always found it a great story, but I didn't really, there was nothing around back then to learn about him. But I much later, co-wrote a book with ska historian Heather Augustine on Alpha Boys School, the school in Kingston, Jamaica, where Don Drummond went to school. And Heather had previously written the one and only book on Don Drummond, which she published in 2013. And I just thought it was such a strong story, and it needed to be brought to the world, and that it really lent itself to being a comic. So I asked her, and she has kindly given me permission to adapt it in comic book form.
That's fantastic. And got to say, I'm representing.
Excellent.
Now, you could take this book and go down a route that's very technical, like on this date, they recorded this track and this album. But talking with you, it looks like you're definitely trying to tell a bigger picture, a story that doesn't just stay in the music industry.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's not a history book in that sense, like our Alpha Boys School book was, or Heather's Don Drummond book. No, I'm much more going for getting inside Don Drummond's personality, what shaped him, what were the turning points in his life. We're going to have a large section on his childhood, growing up on the streets, in the ghettos of Kingston, in Raytown. So it will be, really looking at his motives for becoming a musician, and it's much more atmospheric. I'm looking for those powerful emotional moments, and just trying to recreate the atmosphere of Kingston in the 1940s, the 50s and 60s, which is when the book is set.
Right, very important to the story as well. If it's based on Heather's book, Anita Mahfouz is going to play a huge role, Margarita. So it's actually a dual story.
Very much so. And Margarita has been very much misunderstood, I think, over the years, and not so much is really known about her. And she's a really fascinating personality, very strong person, and she had a big impact on the ska scene, which I don't think most people really know, that she was actually pretty influential in the early ska days, in some of the connections that she helped make with Don.
Right. Now, of course, if you're doing a graphic novel comic book series, there's got to be an artist involved. And I know you're not an artist. So who do you got doing the images?
Well, I'm really thrilled to have found just the perfect artist to take on this project. His name is Konstantinos Pistorius, Kos for short. His artist name is Versioncos. He's based in Cyprus, and he's a massive reggae fan. Well, he built and runs his own sound system,
Nice.
Rhythm and Green sound system, which is he runs it out of his mountainside off-grid base, and he's a great person to have on board, and we've got a really good understanding together between us of what we want to try and achieve. And he's got a particularly unique visual style, which, you know, when I first saw it, I just felt like this is it. You know, he's really got the look for the era, and he does a lot of sound system art and LPs for reggae as well, so that, you know, that's his whole background.
Right, and people can see some of that art now because they can start following this project right now. I know you're going to do a Kickstarter campaign, and you've got a Facebook page. Is that where people can get the latest updates on this project?
Absolutely, yeah. So Facebook, it's Trombone Man, Ska's Fallen Genius. And Kickstarter, if you sign up to Kickstarter to join Kickstarter, and then look for, same again, Trombone Man, Ska's Fallen Genius. And you can, it's not live yet, but you can sign up to be informed when the project does go live, which will be, we're looking at early March 2022.
So let's see, you've let us know how we can keep on track on the project, and you've given us a good idea what to expect. I think you've answered everything I've got, and I know that if I have more questions, I can go right to the Facebook page and the Kickstarter for updates. So that's definitely where people should be going to check this out. And if they go to the Facebook page right now, they get a chance to see some images from the book before it even gets published.
Yeah, there's a few bits and pieces up there, and there's also a really cool piece of street art which I instigated with a graffiti artist from Brighton, UK, which, you know, it's a spectacular, really ambitious piece, and there's a short film being made of the creation of that, which will be coming online soon as well. But yeah, there's all sorts on the Facebook page for people to check out.
Well, the other thing I've got to make sure we mention, you're going to have guests coming on here, and you've already got somebody booked. You've got several, don't you?
Yeah, I've got some great trombone players lined up. First guest, I'm really excited to have Lucas Petter, who
Nice.
is in London, well, southeast London particularly, should say. They are unique to that part of London. Ska band, Chain Ska Brassica, which is the most fantastic name for a ska band. I don't know how they came up with that. They met at school. They were a school band who just rode a wave, and before they knew it, they were supporting Madness in stadiums, and you know, just had a whole story that just is so heartwarming. You know, what they've done, you know, at such a young age, and I'm really thrilled to be opening the channel with a chat with Lucas.
Well, you can't beat that. I mean, so you've given us the information. We know how to keep in touch, and I know what to come back for and look for the next podcast, or the next time you publish on this site. So you've answered all my questions. So back to you.
Great, thanks, Charles, and yeah, thanks for helping me with this first episode. And if you're wanting to find out more, it's the Facebook page, as we've already said, and just keep an eye out for the first video coming soon in the next week or so. I'll see you back here.